Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Gamey Daddy channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. So if you guys watched my last video where I commented on massive statement about content that's already early in development for this year, I told you guys that earlier before this statement came out, I made a video titled my wish list for, in quote, year 3. In fact, that video, I was basically having to quote year 3 because I wasn't certain that we were going to have anything of that sort. I didn't know exactly what it was going to be, but I went ahead and made the video anyway because I felt it's important that we start the conversation for what we would like to see for this closing or final phase of the Division 2. That's basically what we're going to call it for now. Who knows? Things could change down the road. And I decided that I wasn't going to publish that video. I said I was going to publish it, but I'll leave a link here for you guys if you want to listen to it. But here is the more updated video that is now being based on the news that we've heard, where I make my wish list and some of my requests of things that I would like to see for year 3. And I'm certain a lot of players in the community would like to see these things as well. It's not exclusive just to me. These are from conversations that we've had in the past. Now, the very first thing is that we would love to see Incursions come to the Division 2. Incursions provide, in my opinion, a very interesting way for people in the community to be able to experience more in-depth division mechanics in missions, but in smaller groups. Also, I believe that as much as the raids have brought the community in a place where the division's community aspect has grown, where people have grown into deeper relationships, deeper community settings, some people may not necessarily have the temperament to be able to dealing with a mission with 7 other people. There are personality types like that, and I can understand. Some people may say, well, go find friends, go do this. Trust me, it's not like these people don't have friends. The group dynamics and just the thought of having to deal with it is already a barrier for many folk like that. It's just a personality type, and they must also be considered for the greater enjoyment of the entire community. It's not like the raid community is going to frown upon incursions anyways. It just means you just get to play the incursions now with less people and most likely much easier. Because think about it. If your raid clan is trying to raid and you need that one guy that's just really good with Buddy and Lucy, calling out Buddy, Lucy, and he's not around, well, what are you going to do? But if you have incursions, these allow for easier entry into experiencing these mechanics. And they really do a good job in just, getting the community to be able to do some much more, I would say, casual community building along the line. Think about incursions from the Division 1. Some of them were actually pretty good. Some were boring. Some of them, though, allowed for us to be able to learn the mechanics and then get to a point where we started to just fast run them like a speed mill. So that was a really interesting aspect. The second thing I would say in this wish list is I would hope that the developers are going to bring some content that really does allow for PvP to be a little bit more engaging. Many people have said, there are not enough PvP modes in the division. They've talked about the world, the maps, and all that stuff. I don't know about the maps. I don't know about you running around the dark zone. I've seen people say, oh, I just want to run around the dark zone so the whole DZ can chase me. It was the same PvP players in the Division 1 that complained about being, having to chase people all over the dark zone. I remember seeing those complaints. So I think when they scaled down the dark zone, it was kind of well, you guys said you don't want to be chasing a manhunt all through the server and never being able to catch them. So here you go. So I don't know if that's going to solve the problem right now. I think with the PvP side, the biggest need for PvP are PvP game modes. That is my opinion. I'm not a PvP player, so my opinion may be wrong, but if they said, oh, we want to drop you a few more game modes, or we want to overhaul the entire system of the game, which will be never, which would you take, PvP players? You take game mode, because they're not changing that movement for you. The movement's baked into the entire framework of the game. And with what you're hearing right now, yeah, it's not happening. So I think a new PvP game mode is a realistic request that the community can use. And more importantly, not just a game mode, I think a game mode that incorporates some PvE, just like we had with Last Stand in the Division 1. Last Stand was so much fun. People brought in their PvE builds and nuked everyone. Remember those Seeker Mines? Oh, they were so good until they nerfed them. But it was really interesting to see how you could run multiple groups of people in those kinds of mission contexts. Now, with the current dark zone that we have, it probably won't be able to take it. So they'll most likely have to come up with something that is, in a sense, fun and unique, or a small scale down version of that. Not only that, they could also engage in other kinds of fun aspects of those missions, but it's will somewhat leak into the third request or the third thing I have on this wish list, which will be a survival game mode. survival game mode that enables PvP and PvE, I would say implementation where players can go into the dark zone, or they can go, the map changes, the whole DC map changes into this huge nightmare, and everybody can now jump in and deal with things. And then there's kind of an objective that you can do that doesn't necessarily have to be with the dark zone. And then the mechanics would also be different. You could encounter different enemy types while you're at a huge disadvantage in this mode, and players can go in there and hardcore the heck out of this thing, because that's what I think is going to, in a sense, tell the community that, hey, we really do appreciate you, because this is the one request that we have been asking for. It's not a matter of saying, oh, we want to bring you fresh content. Nah, bring survival. Take the map and throw a bunch of DC-62 on there, and throw a bunch of bad guys, and put us in a situation where we don't have all of our OP gear, or even give us our OP gear and make it unfair, so that we understand that we have a mode that we can basically come into and just go crazy and go ham on. I think if the developers put these things in place, I think they're going to be able to provide a little bit of goodwill to the community. And I don't want to really jump ahead of myself here, but I do think there's another Division game at play. Because another Division game at play usually means that they're trying to do these things to kind of soften the relationship. Because that Star Wars game is not coming out for another few years. They said they're in early development of the game, but you're not going to see it, in my opinion, for another few years. I mean, if you think about it, Avatar comes out in the Avatar movie had been scheduled for 2022, so I'm guessing the game is going to be coming out at a similar time frame. But then if you kind of want to look at when, that game is finally completed, maybe say the game gets complete by the time of the release date, when is Star Wars going to get completed? They're still hiring for Star Wars actively right now. And so I think the Division is really strong on the table. Avatar might be a one-off, kind of a resume checker for the company. Hey, we made an Avatar game. They put it in their little glass of, achievements. But the Division, I think, is probably going to be the meat for them. And I think the Division 3 is a bigger vision, because now you have the next-gen consoles. It's not going to exist on this particular console. I think, there's more that has to go into it, which is another video that I'm going to be working on, and we're going to be talking about that. But I'll leave this video here for now. If you have a wish list, if you have anything that you want to see in the game, please put it in the comment section. I think this is going to foster the conversation for us to be able to have this year 3, in quote, close out in the very best light that it can. Thank you very much for watching the video. I appreciate you guys so much. Hopefully we'll see you in another one. Peace.